Bad habits work against us in so many ways. They can harm our health, our mental well being, and even cause issues in our personal relationships. Trying to break a bad habit by telling yourself you'll not engage in it just won't cut it. A habit usually is hardwired into your brain, such as the need to smoke or being extremely disorganized. Remember that habits become unconscious behaviors. The first small step to take is identifying the habit and why you believe you engage in it. For the best strategies and tips on finally experiencing and living life with the least resistance through making the right tweaks to your mindset and daily habits, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get my latest uploads every week. So, once you know what causes the bad habit, create an immediate action plan to turn around things in your favor. For example, if you constantly smoke during the day, again with the smoking example, it just came up and I used it. Anyway, if you constantly smoke during the day, you'll start to identify what triggers you to smoke. Is it stress or is it stemming from anxiety? Do you smoke out of habit when having a coffee? Smoking in times of stress means you need an action plan for reducing stress during the day or when a similar situation arises. So, what small things can you eliminate, there we go, from your life that causes you to stress? The first step is to write that out and make an action plan. Create an action plan. Okay? So when you are triggered to smoke or engage in that bad behavior, for example, if it's every time you have that coffee, try switching to another beverage to see if that will help you. You can then write that down and act on having one less cigarette per day and keeping that until you get to no cigarettes at all. So we want to fine tweak and write out what worked, what didn't work, what time of the day. You want to be very detailed when it comes to your plan so you can get a bird's eye view of what's going on, how your mindset is at that time. What were you thinking about? Or what happened? Were there any outside influences that triggered you to think or do a certain thing? And why did it trigger you, if that's the case? We want to replace bad habits with good ones. So, replacement works for many bad habits. Not all, but for some of the majority, it does. For example, if you always have something sweet for dessert, chances are your blood sugars will suffer a bit. So, why not get to the core issue of why the needs for sweets is so important to you? See, this is crucial if you're overindulging in it. Okay? Do you feel like you're missing out on the sweetness of life? And if so, how can you incorporate what you're missing into your life? What does that sweetness look like to you? How does it feel? Okay? If you must have something sweet after dinner, then have some cherries. They have the sweetness that you desire and also other many health benefits. So this applies when you're kind of overindulging and it's causing a negative effect on your life or an aspect of your life. Okay? So I'm not speaking about normal occurrences. Okay? Bad habits can also be caused by outside influences. Um, I know it could sneak in where you don't even notice that your bad habits can be fueled by the people who are closest to you or the people that you hang around the most. Look at some of those habits that you deem negative and to see if this is true. Do you spend a lot of time around people who are highly critical of others? That's a question to ask yourself. You may be in a group that engages in this destructive behavior and you are prompted to join in because you don't want to look indifferent or going against the grain in a way. In a sense, that's a good thing, but for some people that's kind of like, oh, what are you trying to be, snooty? Are you trying to be holier than thou? So you want to look at that. Okay, you must decide to step away and not fall to peer pressure. And peer pressure doesn't only happen overtly, Lucy Progreso, or um, when you're kids in elementary or middle or high school. Okay, it could be very subtle. It's like a feeling like, oh, this person feels uncomfortable, even though they're not speaking it verbally. You can pick that up, like I said, through your instincts, your intuition, or through their body language. Okay, when friends insist, there we go. Bear with me here. When friends insist on spending time engaging and worrying about what others are doing and saying, refuse that and step away. Replace that time instead with a positive habit, like creating a game night for you, your friends, or a movie night for you and your family, or even yourself. Understand that some habits go hand in hand. In this case, you can work on both at the same time. The goal here is to kill two birds with one stone. Pay attention to what habits go together, in a sense. For instance, if you know that too much TV and endless, there we go again, hello communication, can we work here? Okay. If you know or conscious of that, too much television and endless snacking isn't so healthy for your mind or your body, then get rid of the two habits together by first starting to reduce your time with TV, then completely cutting it out altogether as you go on. Okay, so we want to do this gradually. You don't want to go cold turkey. Not everyone has that type of willpower. Some people can, but I want to be, we want to be more on the safer side of things. So we want to gradually reduce our exposure to what we deem as unhealthy in one or all aspects of our lives. So, and also with that aforementioned example, you want to also reduce your snacking also, or what type of snack you're eating with a better alternative. Okay. Now we'll discuss removal or replacement. Removal or replacement is another tiny step to ease bad habits out of your life altogether. We know that, for example, and I'm the queen, I guess, of giving examples, but I want to paint a very vivid picture for you. Okay. So we know that drinking soda, for example, can become a bad habit where some people can consume a liter or more a day. The goal here is to reduce the quantity, not cut it out altogether, but reduce the quantity of how much soda you're drinking or how much you're actually putting in the fridge. Then replace that amount that you just reduced with fruit juice or water. If you enjoy a hamburger and fries occasionally, then take a bottle of water with you before you place an order. If like the fast food, like you feel like you're doing it too much, then that's how you would probably try to tackle it. Avoid ordering the combo, which includes the soda, and go for the individual burger and fries. So, again, you want to write out that action plan, not only mentally try to work it out, you actually want it on paper because there's a science between the mind and the hand physically writing it out. Okay. I'm kind of still old school like that. So, anyway, enough about moi. The last thing I want to discuss is detoxing from technology, the phone especially. My focus here is the phone. Using your cell phone constantly, as we know, is another bad habit that can be handled by putting the phone out of your reach during different periods of the day. Like, for example, when you're eating dinner with your family, or even if you're having a dinner date with yourself, the cell phone should be put away, put in another room, put in your bag, just out of your sight. Okay. Another thing, like taking your phone to bed, is another bad thing. Okay. You should place that cell phone far away from you or in your nightstand drawer just in case of emergency, and make sure it's on vibrate and not completely off. Again, in case of emergency, you don't want the ringer to be on and it's blasting and you're startling yourself out of sleep. That's a no-no because you could get a headache and all that good jazz. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say when you take your cell phone to bed, you're likely to watch the news or scroll through social media. And we all know that social media can be bombarded with negative news, which will decrease your outlook, your positive outlook on life, and have your mindset kind of go in that darkness down spiral that we don't want. We want to keep our vibration high, and we want to keep our mental state in a more positive atmosphere than in a more negative atmosphere. Okay. So replace that cell phone in bed with a book, possibly about positivity or any other type of self help, self development, or even a romantic book, a romance book, romance novel. There we go. But we just want to decrease, the goal here is to decrease our screen time. Okay. Now, let's sum things all up. Bad habits can transform into positive habits with a little elbow grease and consistency. Remember that self reflection should be your first step before taking action to make certain changes in your life. Okay? So now that you've gotten some new tools under your belt, it's your turn to apply them. Okay? So our takeaways here are replace bad habits with good ones with an action plan that you physically want to write down, not jot down on your phone. Write it physically out in your planner or your journal. Outside influences can cause bad habits, so be cognizant and discerning about that. Some habits go hand in hand. Okay, so we want to kill that those two birds with one stone, or replace both habits with more healthier types of habits. Practice more the removal or replacement method that we've discussed previously. And we also, last but not least, want to detox from the phone, okay, the screen time. So if you have any more suggestions, because I know this is not the end all be all, please let me know down in the description box of how you make certain changes by taking tiny steps and creating new routines, which in turn turns into healthier habits for yourself. You can also, because I have a guide slash workbook that goes along with this mini course that you can download in the description box below. I'll have that link for you. Okay. So if you need more help, you know where you can find me at themoralcompass.com, where I'll be providing more tips and tricks to help you on your journey. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you a part of the family, and I'll catch you in the next session. So stay blessed.